We live among monsters, not the kind that lurk in shadows or dwell in fairy tales, but entities far stranger, older, and more alien than most life on Earth. They're in our walls, beneath our feet, in the air we breathe, and sometimes even growing inside us. Fungi, those mushrooms in your soup or mold on your bread, are not plants, not animals, and not bacteria. They belong to their own kingdom, and the deeper scientists dig into that kingdom, the weirder it gets. Fungi are Earth's true shapeshifters. Some glow in the dark, others release clouds of spores that hijack insect brains. Some can survive nuclear radiation. They can form networks that rival the size of cities and communicate using electrical signals, earning the nickname the Wood Wide Web. Fungi are strange in a way that feels almost fictional, like something out of science fiction or dark fantasy. But it's all real. Fungi are closer to animals than plants. Let's start with the foundational weirdness. Fungi are more closely related to you than to the plants they're often mistaken for. Unlike plants, fungi can't make their own food via photosynthesis. They eat by secreting digestive enzymes into their surroundings and absorbing the nutrients. Their cell walls are made of chitin, the same material in insect exoskeletons and lobster shells, while plant cell walls are made of cellulose. The humongous fungus, Earth's largest organism. You might think that the blue whale is the largest living thing on Earth. You'd be wrong. The title belongs to Armarilla ossatae, also known as the honey fungus. This fungal colony growing underground in Oregon spans nearly 4 square miles, about 10 square kilometers, and is estimated to be over 2,000 years old. Genetically, it's one organism. Its visible mushrooms are just fruiting bodies, tiny outgrowths compared to the massive network of mycelium, a kind of fungal root system beneath. It weighs hundreds of tons and quietly digests entire forests, and it's still growing. The zombie fungus. If there were a contender for the creepiest organism on Earth, the zombie fungus would be a top pick. This zombie fungus infects ants, taking over their nervous systems. Once infected, the ant begins to act erratically, climbing up vegetation and latching onto leaves or branches in what scientists call the death grip. Then the fungus kills it, from the inside out. A stalk erupts from the ant's head and rains spores down onto the forest floor below, ready to infect more ants. This isn't metaphorical mind control. The fungus invades the brain and manipulates behavior in a terrifyingly precise way. And it's not alone. There are dozens of species of fungi that zombify different insects. It's nature's version of The Last of Us, only it was real long before it was fictional. Fungal communication, the Wood Wide Web. Fungi don't just sit around digesting dead things. Some species actively communicate using electrical impulses. Mycorrhizal fungi form symbiotic relationships with trees and plants, connecting them underground through networks of tiny filaments called hyphae. This network allows trees to exchange nutrients, warn each other about pests, and even send resources to sick or young trees. In other words, fungi allow forests to act like a single interconnected organism, an underground internet for plants. One study showed fungi firing electrical signals in bursts similar in pattern to human language, leading some researchers to speculate they might be using a primitive form of communication. Fungi that eat plastic and even radiation. Scientists have discovered fungi that can digest plastic. Aspergillus tubangensis, found in a Pakistani waste site, can break down polyurethane, the main ingredient in many plastic products. Others can munch through petroleum, jet fuel, or synthetic rubber. But the true horror or miracle comes from Chernobyl. Inside the ruined reactor, scientists discovered black fungi that don't just survive radiation, they thrive on it. These radiotropic fungi appear to use melanine, the same pigment that colors your skin, to absorb radioactive energy and convert it into chemical energy, much like plants use chlorophyll to photosynthesize sunlight. They're basically photosynthesizing nuclear fallout. Think about that. Hallucinogenic mushrooms, the mind-altering mycelium. Salobe mushrooms, better known as magic mushrooms, are another reminder that fungi can warp our perception of reality. The compound psilocybin mimics serotonin in the brain and can trigger vivid hallucinations, spiritual experiences, or ego death. The sensation of becoming one with the universe or losing one's sense of self entirely. Interestingly, psilocybin might have evolved as a defense mechanism. It makes insects disoriented, possibly protecting the mushrooms from being eaten. Yet in humans, it opens the doors of perception. Modern studies suggest psilocybin can reduce depression, PTSD, and anxiety. So fungi don't just mess with your brain, they might help heal it too. Killer spores or cordyceps for humans. In 2023, a report described the first known case of cordyceps infection in a human. The patient was a 61-year-old Indian mycobiologist who had been working with fungal specimens. He developed flu-like symptoms and a CT scan revealed an abscess in his throat. Biopsy confirmed cordyceps. The fungus had jumped species, a rare, unsettling event. It was treatable, but it raises a disturbing possibility. Under the right conditions, fungi could evolve to infect humans more effectively. And unlike bacteria or viruses, we don't have many defenses. Fungi are tough. Antifungals are limited. Our body temperature usually protects us, but if global temperatures rise, fungi could adapt. They're already starting to. Fungal farming and intelligence in slime molds. Some ants, notably leafcutter ants, have been farming fungi for millions of years. They cut leaves not to eat them, but to feed their fungal gardens. In return, the fungus produces edible structures the ants can digest. This is ancient agriculture, and it predates human farming by tens of millions of years. And then there's slime mold, technically not a fungus, but often grouped with them. These blobs can solve mazes, optimize transport routes, and remember where they've been, despite having no brain or nervous system. One slime mold even recreated the Tokyo subway system's efficiency by just growing over oat flakes arranged like cities. In some sense, it thinks without thinking. Fungi as engineers of life and death. Fungi are decomposers. They recycle dead material into nutrients. Without fungi, forests would drown in their own debris. But fungi are also creators. Lichens, part fungus, part algae, helped create soil on barren rocks. Fungi helped plants colonize land 500 million years ago. They were likely essential to the evolution of terrestrial life. They are both the beginning and the end. Fungi kill, heal, connect, and resurrect. They operate invisibly, often silently, but with profound effects. They are alien in structure, alien in behavior, and alien in thought, if you can even call it that. And yet we owe them everything. Welcome to Planet Fungus. There are an estimated 5 million fungal species, but only about 150,000 have been formally described. Most of the fungal kingdom remains unexplored. What else is out there beneath our feet, in our bodies, in the air, is still largely unknown. Fungi are older than dinosaurs. They're survivors of multiple mass extinctions. They blur the line between life and death, between organism and network, between horror and wonder. If you want to understand just how strange life on Earth can be, look no further than the kingdom of fungi. They're not just weird, they're fundamentally weird, and they're not going anywhere.